platform that is designed for small businesses. Success is just a tap away. Order now. Replace your business card with an Is the City Success card. This card uses modern technology to directly connect with clients, so you never get lost.
Replace your business card with an Is the City Success
card. With a simple tab or scan, you can immediately share contact information. The Success card also allows you to share what you do best on the Is the City platform. Personalize your profile, add videos and galleries, products and services, post your deals and events, get discounts on services tailored to entrepreneurs, and more. Use a platform that is designed for small businesses. Success is just a tap away. Order now.
It's nice. Let me work you up, baby girl, watch you whine. I'm following your lead.
What's good, everybody? What's good? It's your boy DJ Uncle Dope, and I'm back in the game. It's been a long time. It's been about 2 weeks since we had a conversation, and today's guest, I really had to bring her on. She posted something on social media, and immediately I had to shift the schedule. I had to shift the weekend and get on, because this is my sister from another, as what she said. She posted on social media, but this also my sister in arms. And for some odd reason, I'm in a place where my first love, my immediate love when it comes to our brothers and sisters at arms is, I definitely want to take the opportunity to promote anybody that's getting ready to transition out the military, back into civilian life, wherever they may decide to go. But if they're getting ready to start a business, or they're getting ready to start a different movement, I want to capture that, and I want to have that conversation. Mainly because it's a lot of us that are still wearing a uniform that are trying to figure out what it is that we want to do in life. So whenever I catch or see somebody that's actually starting to pursue their dream while they're still wearing a uniform, I want to have that conversation. I want to have that dope conversation, because as I said before, we try to inspire people to get out of their way, or tap into untapped potentials, or even execute their dreams through what we're doing here with Dope Conversation. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Miss Sherlonda Sharps. She is originally from Annapolis, Maryland. If I said it right, I'm just going to say
yeah, you did.
She's been in the Air Force for almost 21 years.
Yeah, man.
Recently promoted. I was excited when she got there, because we was riding that wave together. She started out as a supply technician, which is now called material management in the Air Force. She is now a communications tech in the tech world for the Air Force. So she's defending our skies, as you would call it, through cyber and space. She's about to hit her she called it Air Forceversary.
Yeah, man. Air Forceversary.
Yeah, she's coming up on that on the 24th of November. But one of the cool things about her is, a lot of people, when we transition in the military, we transition to different, we transition to the levels of subordinate, to the frontline supervisors, to strategic supervisors. And she's adopted this nickname called Momma Bear, and she's adopted this nickname called Momma Bear. And not only Momma Bear from the home standpoint, but Momma Bear from the supervisory standpoint. And she's starting her business, y'all. She just recently started a business, and her ultimate goal with her business is to empower women. She wants to be a business consultant, but more so she wants to be empowered, and she wants to empower women to get out of their ways, to start stepping into the things that they want to step into, and be dreamers. I mean, essentially what we're doing here with this conversation. So I'm not going to talk y'all to death or bore y'all to death with trying to read her entire bio. I want to send a shout out. I want to say what's up to my sis all the way on the East Coast. How you doing over there?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you're having me on. We having this conversation, bro. I'm thankful. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm glad you jumping on. Like when I saw you post what you posted the other day, I was like, wow, like I definitely need to get her on because for some odd reason I was like, what she doing? What? And hold on, now we gotta have this conversation. I got another one. I film coming up here in a couple of weeks. I'm not gonna say his name yet, but we're gonna talk about his journey with chefing and things that he's doing. So I got him coming up here real soon. We definitely gonna talk about him, but he probably gonna feel some kind of way because I got you on before him, but he'll be all right. He'll be all right.
He always feels some kind of way about me. Tell him to sit down.
So let's get into this conversation.
Let's go. Let's have this conversation.
So
Because it's a conversation, right? Okay.
It's a conversation. You got your wine. I got my watered down apple juice.
Yeah, it's a conversation.
So I asked mandatory. Like I got a group of questions, but two of them is mandatory. This first one is definitely mandatory. Why? Because I want people to get to understand you, and I want people to start to hear how people are connected with themselves, so they can hear how you connect with yourself and understand who you are, so they can go and do that soul searching and find out who they are. So, first question is: everybody has a foundation, and with that foundation, it shapes you to be who you are, or it guides that path to be the person that you are today. So, what was your foundation, and how did it shape you?
Interesting enough, probably a few years ago, I wouldn't have been able to answer this question how I'm about to answer it right now. A person's foundation is basically three elements: the what, the who, and the how. The what is your body, is how you express yourself to the world, how you present yourself to the world. And I believe I present myself in a way as I'm very strong, intelligent, ambitious. I'm very much powerful and fearless, but I'm also humble. And a lot of people will pick and choose out of how you express yourself and focus on that one thing, when as a person, you're a multitude of things. The who is whom you are internally. That's who you are inside. That's your spirit. That's your core. And that's what's most important to you. It's what fuels your dreams and your passion. My who is always my children, is my man and my family. Because without them, you wouldn't be who you are. And that's also for whoever has any religious followings, is God. That's your foundation, period.
Not God. You said like Master P. God.
Yeah, all of that. And then there's the how. It's your mind, how you think, how you verbalize yourself, how you express yourself. That how is basically a combination of the what and the who. And when you're expressing yourself, are you being true to yourself? And for me, I always try to be the same me, no matter what. And when I can't be me, I'm quiet, because I would rather not say anything than pretend to be something that I'm not. I would rather be my authentic self than appease to an audience, because the audience won't suffer, you will.
Right. That's definitely something to live by, or even something to kind of go by, because when you speak in reference to the audience, it's more so like all eyes on you for the most part. And when it's all eyes on you, you get scrutinized, you get picked apart, and you got to be strong in yourself, and you got to have a better understanding of yourself, and you got to go back, like you said, your who is your family. That's that energy. That's your, what I call one of your values. Connected to your goals. So like value-based goals. And one of the things that I've kind of learned over the past couple of months when it comes to leadership is developing leaders ain't really about applying military principle. It's actually walking and showing the people that look up to you that you're always evolving yourself. You're always getting yourself together. You're always putting yourself in positions to grow. And you're supposed to motivate them to want to be like you and additionally be better than you. So, I mean, makes total sense. Like total sense. So in the military, 20 plus years, right? Most people say they want to do 20 and get out. So why are you still in, and why didn't you make that transition at 20?
So one, and you know this story, and I'm not ashamed of my story at all. It took me a long time to make master. Mm-hmm. And I had to have a service commitment. So outside of the service commitment, which is, it'll be up next year. Right now I'm at a place where I'm at my decision-making point. And I have to decide, and I remember when I was a supply troop, and I'll never forget this, at Moody Air Force Base, for all my supply troops who was running around saying, soup, soup, damn right. We used to have these conversations with the senior NCOs all the time, and they will always tell us, there'll come a time in your career where you have to make a decision. And there will be people who will continue to put their career over their families, and people who put their family over their careers. And you have to decide which one you will be.
That is so funny. I just had that. I was kind of having that conversation a little bit yesterday or a couple of days ago about learning where you are and the position that that you sit. But at the end of the day, when you take his uniform off, nobody is going to give a crap about what rank you served in the military, what position, how many people you supervise, because guess what? It's not the military anymore.
It's not.
You got to be able to really find what's called that work-life balance. And I think that we've gotten so caught up into trying to promote that we forgot to be able to show that we can balance and achieve objectives by not basically selling our soul to the stripe or to the recognition or to the rank.
So it's funny you said that. The second time I tested for master, I didn't make it by like a few points, and I was pissed. And I was at my last assignment, and my chief of staff at the time, because I was working in a headquarters assignment, and he was like, "Come here," and I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Let's have a talk," and I said, "I'm just so frustrated." He said, "Okay." He said, "Do you know who you are?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Who are you?" And I started spitting out who I was. I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a daughter. I said everything but tech sergeant, right? He literally was like, "So you are everything but a tech sergeant." And I said, "No, I'm a tech sergeant." He said, "No, you are not a tech sergeant. You wear the stripe of a tech sergeant. You perform the duties of a tech sergeant." He said, "Why do you still call me chief such and such?" I said, "Because when I got here, you were still active duty." He said, "Correct. But why does everybody else call me Mr.?" I said, "Because you had transitioned by then." Right. He said, "No, because it no longer matters." The same thing you just said. He said, "It no longer matters." He said, "Don't get so caught up in this stripe because you know who you are." He said, "A lot of people don't. And the only thing that validates them is their stripe."
Is the stripe, right?
And he says, unfortunate, and he prays for people like that, but it's what validates them. He said, "It doesn't validate you because you didn't say it." He said, "Had you said it, we would have had to come to Jesus, but you didn't." He said, "Do you want to get promoted? Yes. Is it beneficial for your retirement pay? Yes. Is it great for your family and friends to celebrate you? Yes. But just remember," and he hadn't even been retired 2 years. He was like, "I haven't even been retired 2 years, and nobody here really remembers that, but the few of you that's in uniform that say it." And that same conversation, I find myself constantly reminding folks, but I really try to say it to airmen when I go brief FTAC. Don't allow the military promotion system to eat you alive, because you'll get caught up in and it starts early. It
Right.
starts really early. They come
Right.
straight to the unit. What do I need to do to make BTC? I want to make staff first time. What about tech? And it never ends. It never ends. And it's even harder. Let's not even get started on Black folks or minorities, because the system isn't even built for us. So now you got to work twice as hard as your counterparts, and it's still a struggle. And now I got to tell the minority airmen, well, you got to do double time. You got to show this, that, and the third. You got to work extra hard. Well, they not. You ain't them. You don't have that privilege.
Well, I think it. To be honest with you, I think it is kind of changing from the standpoint of the opportunities, because I think the playing field is getting leveled for the most part. So I think that people like us are taking that time to educate, and it's starting to spread. Those seeds are being planted, and it's starting to spread, in my opinion, like wildfire, because we're not acting like we are the quote unquote untouchable senior NCOs, or the I'm better than yous from a senior NCO standpoint. And it's a lot of people that just look at us and like, man, you made it. I've gotten so much inspiration or motivation just based off of the fact that you made it, and you somebody look like me. You didn't change what you was doing, how you were doing, and I think that's what we need. Unfortunately, people like us, we're tired. We're exhausted.
Yeah.
And
We are.
for the lack of better words, I'm gonna say it. If anybody's watching, it is what it is. This is my opinion. I just think the people above us from the past 5 to 8 years ago were so focused on getting promoted, and they, some did, but I think a lot of them lack the interpersonal relationship skills or they just lack the care to develop people. So now the people like us who spent staff tech and even senior airmen in our early master sergeant days frustrated because we got messed over. He was like, I'm gonna change this. And we, little by little, every time we move around, every time we get in contact with somebody or somebody reach out to us, what we're doing is we're taking initiative to pour into individuals the pain that we felt.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
So even in our tired, we haven't stopped mentoring. We haven't stopped giving. We haven't stopped showing those under us how to progress.
Right.
We're going to give until we can no longer give. And we probably going to give when we take the uniform off.
Right.
It's just, I think it's our peer group, our generation, is who we are. We've decided to not do what people have done to us and leave the Air Force in better shape than what we were given. We just are. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that and say that, because I'm at the point now where I know for a fact over these next 2 years, all y'all gonna get from me is developing and helping. Don't ask me nothing about my job, because y'all got people that y'all hire and put in positions for the job, and people are, they're doing what they're doing. But what I feel like what we're missing is the mentorship part, and that leads me to, just a question. So, from the standpoint of you starting a business, I know there's a lot of airmen. They're probably senior NCOs and NCOs now, but they started businesses when they first joined. I guess I had a business DJing, but I really didn't, qualify it as a business until maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, when I really got like, okay, this is some serious stuff. But should we be coaching our airmen to establish an identity once they get a solid grounding in the Air Force or in the military in general?
Absolutely. Because the things I know now, I wish somebody had told me then. I wish somebody had told me to buy a house when I was an airman. I wish somebody had told me to start investing as an airman. I'm not, I think a lot of times, and this is unfortunate, people, this is definitely not color specific or gender specific. People have a crab in the barrel mentality.
Yeah.
We are afraid that if I share a gym, you may take something from me. The reality is, if me and you both own 100 Apple stocks each, my dividends aren't going to take from yours. We're going to get the same amount of dividends.
If the Air,
So
if,
why
only if the Air Force thought
can't
like
we
that.
share that information? Why can't I say, hey, bro, Apple stock is about to split. You probably should jump on it and get some. Buy like 2 to 4. It's going to split. Go ahead.
Right.
Hey, outside of TSP, open a Roth IRA and start buying stocks through that. It'll be beneficial in the long run when you retire. We don't do that. And this is even with friends. Oh, well, yeah, I found this TSP guy who says do this, this, and this. So when I retire, I'm going to have $80,000 in TSP. Well, I got 25. Why you ain't tell me that? Oh, why ain't think about it? Huh? How does that even work? Why aren't we sharing these gems with each other? Is it going to hurt you to share? No. Is it going to benefit both of us? Each one teach one. Because I may have a gem that you don't have and I didn't think about it either.
Hey, I sure was getting ready to go to. I was getting ready to go to the craft because the craft speak about working tools and your peers. Is like everybody has something that you don't have.
We all do.
And if we, for the lack of better words, I was gonna wear a T-shirt called "Everybody Eats B" today that says it on there.
Yep.
And the reason why I feel like that is because I think that we all miss that collaborative mindset. I feel like I hope with this recent situation with the election, I know it's still pending and all this other stuff, but the way it showed how African Americans came together for one cause, I'm hoping that continues. I'm hoping that it continues past a presidential election. I want it to continue down to the lowest level. And mainly because I feel like if I get to a point in my life where I have a tool and you have a tool and we both can benefit off of each other's tool sets or skill sets and we both can grow financially, where's the competition?
It isn't any. Why am I your competition? My only competition each and every day is myself.
Right.
So somebody asked a question in the comments. Outside of my 3 factors, what's my motivation to continue to get or be better each day? Mm-hmm. That's it. I'm my own competition. I want to wake up to be a better me each and every day and surpass a goal from the day before. And I attempt to learn something new every day. And it could be something minor. It doesn't, we tend to feel like we have to know so much or whatever that nugget is. It has to be the biggest nugget we've ever learned in our life. No, I could just learn that it's a new color. Why can't it be something as minor as that?
It can be. And when I mentor or help people out, the first thing I tell people is, look, I just found this out. Like, I'm excited about this information I found out. I just found this out, and this is how I'm applying it. Because it's one of those things where it's like, again, when a light comes on that you should have that light should have shined when you were 10, 8, 9 years in the service, and you looking at somebody that's screaming the same help that you were screaming back then. Listen, I just figured this out. Here. And my mentorship doesn't just go to who looks like me. It's who
needs me.
Exactly. But I got to validate you first. I got to make sure that you're not coming to me just specifically so that you can just get the stripe, or you can get whatever it is that you need for that moment. Like, I'm helping you to sustain a legacy, not my legacy, just a legacy of what I call is deliberate leaders or deliberate mentors. Because, you know, we always say, hey, I got here by myself. No, somebody cracked the door open for you. Somebody, you know, tapped you on the shoulder one day when you were asleep on post and you weren't supposed to be asleep and you woke up. You know what I mean? It's something small has always back to what you said, something small, something minute has always positioned you to get to the next level. So why not do it the same way? Like, honestly, if I could say what I wanted to say without getting in trouble within the military, I would call some people out that outrank me right now. It's like, dude, you ain't doing nothing. You used to be here at one point in time, but yet and still you act like you never held this job or this position.
Oh, yeah.
Or you act like you were never in a place where you know, you needed help. But everybody's response was always being, well, I figured it out on my own. You should figure it out on your own. Well, hey, everybody ain't the same. And we know that with this new generation. So how do we coach people to tap into who they are at an early age so that they can start reaping the benefits the day they walk out the door?
So I think when you start to get to know your people, and that's the biggest thing. Most supervisors, real supervisors, get to know their people. It's about communication and comprehension. People always say communicate, communicate, communicate. But the second part of that is comprehending what the person is saying. Right. Understanding their goals. You have some people who have no desire to get promoted. They want to do their 4, their 6, and get out of the way. So if that's their choosing, give them what they need and let them get out of the way, and allow the people who want to stay in and focus on them. You have to adjust your leadership and your mentorship to the person. Right. So you give the nuggets to the people who need it. You give them the nuggets that they need. That's easy. People make it harder than what it really is.
And it's funny you said it, because I was just talking to a homegirl of mine, and that's what she was saying. She's like, I'm more focused on making sure the people are solid, not from a military standpoint, but they're just solid from a holistic place, right? And she's like, hey, if you want to get out, hey, I'm going to do what I got to do to make sure that you transition without walking into the homeless veteran situation, or, you know, you didn't know your benefits or resources that you had available to you before you transition out. And we get punished for doing that. We get punished because we don't try to retain people. Listen, I don't want to be in the military just as much as some of these people don't want to be in the military, but I committed to what I committed to. So because I understand commitment, then I can complain about being in the military all day, or I can get out, but I have a goal. I have a rhyme or reason. There are certain things about the military that I love. I love the camaraderie. I love the patriotism about being in the military, being able to accomplish things that a lot of people haven't been able to accomplish. But the business aspect of the military, nah, I'm good on that. I'm definitely good because we don't develop people, and what we should be doing is finding ways to inspire people. Point blank.
So
period.
I didn't always used to be like that. I used to bleed so blue that if somebody said they wanted to get out, why you want to get out? The Air Force is everything. I had to learn and grow as a supervisor. And I'm glad I learned this early staff, actually, that this isn't for everybody. And that's okay. That's okay. A good supervisor knows that, understands that. And let me back this up. So my best shot, and it's going to hurt a few people's feelings, and I'm sorry, y'all, when y'all see this. My best shot was Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, Network Operations, and I called those guys the Dream Team. They were all guys, and all of them didn't look like me. And as of right now, it's probably like 5 or 6 of them. Only one of them is still in the Air Force. One. That's where the moniker Momma Bear even started from, those guys. But the long and short of it is, a few of them wanted to stay in. They wavered. Some knew they were going to get out. But those were the best group of network technicians I ever worked with in my life. To this day. To this day. But every single one of them, I'm like, what's your plan?
Right.
You got a plan? Okay, let's execute. But they came to work every single day and they worked hard because of me. So even if a person wants to get out, if you're inspiring them every single day, if you're leading and you're motivating, they still gonna do what the Air Force needs them to do.
Right.
It's just that when it's time for them to punch, they out the way. Thank you for your service. I appreciate you. Again, not rocket science. People make it harder than what it needs to be.
Yeah. But that's why, I guess, one of the reasons why I started doing these conversations is because I was getting into that place where it's like, man, literally, I don't know what it is I want to do when I get out.
They can't. Somebody said they can't hear us.
Y'all can't hear us? Who said that? That's
Michelle.
Oh, that's at the beginning of the chat. I think we fixed it.
Okay.
I started asking myself like what it is I want to do when I get out. And I had to sit back and I just did a list of things that I'm talented at or things that I love to do and I'm passionate about. And I created what it is that I got the business model that I want to do. And it's like, why didn't I think about this years ago? When I got my degree, I was getting my degree just to check a box for the military. I should have got that degree specifically focused on what I want to do. Cause now I have to take extra classes for my master's program just to get a degree aligned to what I want to do when I get out.
I think we all did that with our bachelor's degree. I did too. I'm like, listen, let me check this box for this bachelor's because y'all getting on my nerves.
Right.
And I got mine in 2012. I'm in school now. I said, let me get my master's because this one is for me.
Exactly.
So I'm getting my master's in executive leadership and a minor in entrepreneurship because this one is for me. If benefits come from the Air Force for it, great. But this one is for me.
But the benefit of the Air Force is somebody's that works for you is watching you grow and develop yourself. That's the benefit. It's like, okay, I'm going to get my stuff together. You're developing people because they're watching you develop yourself. That's the benefit the Air Force gets from it. Not just because if the Air Force pays for a degree in education, you need to get a degree in education. It needs to be 100%, return investment. The return investment is you have an airman or a subordinate that works for me, that drank the Kool-Aid, that's using TA, that's doing everything that you said they need to do, but they're developing themselves cognitively so they can apply some of these skills that they learned with their degree. While they're still accomplishing mission. Like the Air Force to me is a free internship when you get a degree. Why? Because now I got a degree. Let me apply some of these techniques and some of these little nuggets that I got from my class to the Air Force. And from a leadership standpoint, it work, no, they don't. But the Air Force is literally an internship when it comes to the degree. That's how you get that immediate return investment. But now, nah, man, I'm walking out the door. Hopefully in 2 years, we'll see what happens. Things may change, circumstances change, but hopefully in 2 years, I'm walking out the door. When I walk out, I'm walking out with some credentials that of course, the military is going to eat off my credentials, but it's going to really benefit me when I walk away because I think that I hated that I started so late to get where I am now because I could have been walking in what I'm trying to get to, but it's never too late. It's never too late. It's just I waited, so how do we get people like, I just really want to make sure that we are able to convey that message to people and say, hey, if you got a dream or you're inspired to do something and you have the means or you have the spiritual means or the resiliency to walk in it, do it. Don't sit here and get so caught up in the traditional ways of life, and then you're going to regret it when you hit 45 or 50.
I think a lot of times, and I was guilty of this for some years myself, not even just the Air Force, the military as a whole, once you get past a certain point and you're going to stay in, there's a level of comfortability and complacency.
Yeah.
Like, you getting a check on the 1st and the 15th. You getting housing allowance. You can get some grocery money. You good as long as you show up and do your job.
Get some grocery money.
Listen, BAS is all right with me. You tend to get these things and you go to work and you do what you're supposed to do. And this is
right.
And this is just folks that meet the bare minimum. This not even folks who at our level who want to work and really grind it out. This is just the bare minimum folks who getting exactly what we get. You go to work and you do your job and you go home.
Right.
There's a level of complacency and comfortability there. So you like, all right, I'm good. So there's no desire for a while to even go forth. Or you tell yourself, when I'm done with the Air Force, when I retire, that's when I'll push for my next set of goals. Nice. That's when I'll start my second career. That's when I'll figure out what I want to do when I grow up.
I'm starting my second career right now.
Do that, and it's like, why am I waiting if I can do little bits and pieces now?
Right. Why you have the covering? Why you have, solid resources, a stable income. Everybody doesn't have the opportunity because they're not in the military. They're like my sister, hands down. That's if anybody want a blueprint, that's a blueprint for having nothing. And she's I'm telling you, 2021. I promise you.
Listen.
It's about to happen.
Your sister right here. She can't leave me. She already know that. I already told her. She knew.
That's the blueprint. Like literally, that's somebody that like it's intentional. Like, not saying that she fell on hard times. It's what she's doing is intentional because she's creating a formula of success so that she can help people succeed in their lives as well. So I'm sitting back watching her like watching her like a hawk. Why? Because when I see her, I need to get over here and do this too. Like I'm like you said, I'm complacent. And she we had this conversation like, man, look, right now I got the means to be lazy, but I know in 2 years I can't afford to walk out like trying to like figure out what I'm gonna do, and then I gotta turn around and go back and have the same conversation that I had when I was wearing a uniform. I do not want to have that conversation. I don't want to talk about deployments. I don't want to talk about readiness and mobility. None of that. I want to talk about how I help somebody else get to the next level.
Yeah. So a lot of people, and everybody doesn't have this. It's okay to work your 9 to 5 while you work in your dreams.
Exactly. And
people forget that because even I did. And there's another thing, like for me, 2020 was 50-50. It was a lot of positives. It was a lot of negatives. It was
Hope there were no positives on the COVID.
So that was the thing with COVID, right? People was like, well, you don't come out of COVID with a business or blah, blah, blah. Like those memes really annoyed me, right?
Right.
There were people who could not handle COVID that committed suicide. So to me, those memes were a slap in folks' face who could not handle being stuck in their houses in some areas.
Right.
People's mental health took a hit. So I didn't agree with any of that. For the people who did come out, who took the time, and mine was more, I'm just enjoying being lazy. I ain't got to go to work. I'm going to VPN and do all right, let me just, and then it was like, okay. And I'm be honest, it wasn't even my own internal motivation because, so let me go back. My business getting started, and let me get to that. My business got started, or should have been started last year before COVID even hit. It should have got started last year before COVID even hit. Miss Chantel Richards, she is the CEO of Forever Fresh brand.
Okay.
Forever Fresh brand is a organic feminine care line. And I started buying her products. It's probably been over 2 years now. And they're everything. But I end up growing really close to her. And she did some classes in November, December of last year. And I was like, hey, she was like, teach a class for me. Teach the self-awareness and accountability class. Because you're good at being accountable for your actions and all of that stuff. I was like, great, I could do it. So right. She's a former teacher and we came up with a plan together. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna create a journal to go along with this so women can keep being accountable for themselves after the fact. She was like, great. I never did the journal.
What?
Never did the journal.
Wait.
The class,
you what you do? You went and got back to your regular way of life? Is that what you did?
never did the journal.
You got comfortable?
Went back to work. The women stayed inside the group. We kept talking. Never did it, right? So she would ping me every now and then, like, what you doing? You ain't do your journal. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get to it. So when COVID hit, I kind of BS. And one day, Bae came over and was like, yo, what are you doing? And I was like, watching TV. Now, mind you, if anybody really knows me, I don't even look at TV.
Right.
And the TV was on. And he was like, you killing me. You killing me. He was like, yo, you got us. Get out of this. This is not you. Do something.
Well, what was it? What do you think it was that had you there? Because I think Boredom. Nah.
I just was chilling. I was enjoying not being stressed out at work. I was enjoying being able to sit in my house. I was chilling.
I can see that. I can see that.
I was complacent.
The reason why I can see that is because so when COVID first kicked off, I was at the academy, and then we got sent back from the academy, and I had to sit at the house and just sit in the house. And I was like, man, like, are you serious?
Listen.
Like, this is this what retirement looks like? I said, where the button at? I gotta shave. All I gotta do is just take a shower and brush my teeth. That's all I gotta do. And I can still pay my bills. Oh man, let's go. Sign me up, coach, right now.
I was enjoying it a little too much because at the time I was the chief of training.
Okay. Oh.
And we couldn't teach classes.
Yeah.
Couldn't be in a classroom. They couldn't figure out how we were going to do it. It was basically just a lot of Zoom meetings, some emails. I handled that too easy.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay. And when he said it, it was like a fire got lit. And I went hard after that. It was like, okay, I got a business coach. I started following people. I made a separate business page. It went and it hasn't stopped since. It's been full force because it was like, I can do this. I got this.
And it's something that I was listening to this conversation, and I think it hit the nail. I think that's what's my problem, because I'm that guy that'll start something and it'll be straight like up here, but then I look at it, it's like, man, I have to sustain this. I have to keep this going. I did such a good job that I have to go higher. And it's immediately thinking about all that stuff. It's like, I'm tired. I'm exhausted thinking about it. I don't want to even do this anymore. And I forgot who I was listening to, but they were talking about, I was reading a book. Well, not reading, listening, because I hate reading. And the guy was basically like, when LeBron James finally won his first championship in the championship in Cleveland, it was like, okay, he didn't exceed all expectations. And the guy was like, no, it's just getting started for LeBron. Now that he's won a championship, people are going to be expecting that from him from here on out. Like, literally, they're going to be expecting him to win a championship. And the pressure, and at that point, I immediately flip the switch and imagine the pressure that's on LeBron James to be able to sustain that type of career for so long.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, I'd rather take that ride to where whenever I ride that hard, when it's time for me to coast, all that running I did, the check's still coming while I got time to do whatever it is for my family.
Right.
So we mentioned the word dream vaguely. So everybody has a dream job, right? And I'm pretty sure the military wasn't. If it was, kudos to you, but it wasn't my dream job. What? So if the military or what you're doing is not your dream, even the job that you're doing in the military is not your dream job, what is it? And how do you think you ever get to that point to where you're actually living in your dream?
So funny thing was the military, I ended up coming in the military because my initial dream job, I always wanted to be a pediatrician. I love babies and I knew I couldn't be a teacher, but I was like, I want to be a pediatrician. I always wanted to be a doctor. And then when I saw how much college was and medical school, I was like, well, damn, my parents are blue collar workers. This is a whole lot of money. And it just so happened, the recruiter, I was at the Boys and Girls Club. I worked there. I was always there. My Boys and Girls Club was like a staple in my neighborhood growing up. Everybody hung out there, and I was there. And the counselor, the Navy recruiter was there to see the counselor, and the Navy and the Air Force recruiter were really cool. And the Air Force recruiter came in there, and he was like, I know you. I was like, no, you don't. He was like, yes, I do. Who your people? He happened to be from Annapolis. And he didn't know me. He knew my uncle. He knew my mom. And he was like, what you doing? And I was like, what you mean? He was like, I heard, Eric said he was a senior, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I am. He was like, you apply for college? No. Like, I hadn't done the things that I was supposed to go to college. I had the grades. I had the GPA, just didn't do anything. So he was like, you should join the Air Force. I was like, why would I do that? And he was like, what do you want to do? And I told him, he was like, let the Air Force pay for you to be a doctor. Right. You could get in, do your 4 years, take the GI Bill and get out. And I was like, yeah, that ain't for me. And then he was like, I'll be back. And he wasn't persistent. He wasn't really on me. He just happened to come back a couple weeks later and was like, you thought about it? I was like, no. So I called my Uncle Vincent, who happened to be in the Marine Corps at the time, and he was like, it's a good idea. He said, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Consider it. And I was like, all right. So that's when I started looking it up. And then I was like, okay, I could do that. And I talked to my mom, and she was somewhat okay with it. And called my dad. He was somewhat okay with it. Then my dad was like, no, you're my only child. I'm not signed for that. So I was still 17 at the time. I waited till I was 18 to sign. And then, of course, the Air Force became a career because I ended up liking it. Right. I really did. I know some people get jaded at the end of their careers or they go through something. The Air Force gave me and my children a great life. I will never be like, I hate it. I hated moments of it. Yeah. I hated some people who shared the uniform with me, but I can't overall say I hated the Air Force.
And that's the thing, like you said, you hit it. Jaded towards the end of the career. I feel like I'm jaded towards my end of the career, and I'm complaining I got promoted, right?
Right.
But I think that I fell in love with certain aspects of the Air Force, and I wanted to give more, and it was like, no, pump your brakes. I was like, no, I still got more. It's like, no, pump your brakes. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go pour this energy into something else because I feel like that piece is it's not appreciated. But then I had to sit back. It's like, yo, man, you having fun. You still having fun, and you had a career. Like you had a solid career. Been in so many different countries. How many people can say they've been to Cambodia? Most people relate Cambodia Africa to Cambodian breast milk off of Dave Chappelle. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people can say they've been to Cambodia? Like, I don't know too many people other than people that I was with on that trip. So, I'm thankful for that. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I got seeds, I got legacies. How am I going to set something up for them? So one, I can attempt to have them avoid to go through what I went through in a uniform, or they can go be their own selves. They can go pursue their dreams, or at least establish something to where when if I pass away or die, I left them something to where they can continue to grow.
And I think throughout my career, it has shown me that I probably could have been a pediatrician because I believe I could have been anything I wanted to be. But I realized that I inspire people. I'm a flight chief in a different flight, but prior to even becoming a flight chief, there was some issues and that happened. The airmen and junior NCOs in other flights would come to me for assistance before they went to the senior NCOs in their flight. Still do.
Yeah.
It doesn't, and no ethnicity, no race, no anything. It's Son Sharps can fix it. Go talk to Son Sharps. She got it. I bet you Son Sharps know. If she don't, she gonna find out. It's how you treat people. And I realized that I'm inspiring I can help people and I can motivate people. And
We back live. I think the president got mad because we because they yeah, for sure. Yeah, we back. I think they got mad and messing with the internet because somebody lost. I'm just messing with you. I'm just cracking a joke, everybody. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. All right.
so the end of that, it was more me being a motivational speaker because I know that I can inspire people. I know that's who I am. I know that's who I want to be ultimately. And I think so for me, I think that's how this business now, whenever we get to that, I'll explain how I think it'll be a
Let's get into it now.
Okay, so initially the journals came to me because I write everything down. I don't type everything out. I'm a natural writer. I write notes. I write on sticky notes. I still take a green book with a cover to staff meetings. I write everything down. It's just who I am. And I found myself wanting to journal more during the initial part of this pandemic. And I realized that at first I kind of hesitated. I was like, man, the journal market is saturated. So I had to pray about it. I said, you know what, whatever is for me is going to be for me. There is going to be a market for my journals. There's going to be a market for me. I believed in myself enough, and I almost got discouraged. And it's funny because Chantel had sent me a message on Facebook and was like, hey, I know you started your business. What's going on? I was like, yeah. And I had slowed down probably like July a little bit. And then I had talked to my business coach. I ended up getting a business coach, and her name is Stephanie Prince. And between those two, they kind of stayed on me, and it's more Stephanie now. And she was like, nope. So she set monthly goals. I meet with her monthly, and I have to meet my goals every month now. So where I started slacking, she keeps me uplifted.
Right.
So Chantel checks in with me, but Stephanie is like, nope. This is where I need you to be this month. Okay, you were BSing. Where's your journal at? And I'm like, and the funny thing is, the very first journal I'm putting out is an affirmations journal. It's to help you to speak life into yourself. And I literally wrote the journal in about 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
I finally sat down, and believe it or not, so I'm about to be really transparent. My dad took sick this summer. So that's one of my downs. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he had to go get some work done. So I was sitting in the hospital in his waiting room, and I had everything there, and something said, pull your notebook out. I sat there with a notebook and a pen, and I literally wrote the entire journal out while my dad was doing a procedure. By the time he came out, it was done.
What was the outcome for your dad though?
He's doing well. He actually had surgery. I actually just ended leave. I've been on leave for about 3 weeks. He's doing really good. He had to go back and have surgery. But this first procedure was in June. So when Stephanie was like, so what you holding it for? So then I got a branding coach who actually helped me create the journal. And she was like, hey, you BS, and I need you. You know how my schedule is. You need to go to the store. The bookstores are open. Put your mask on. Go look at stuff. Give me some ideas. This is yours. It's not mine. You know what you want, but give me some visuals. So you have a business coach breathing down your neck, a branding coach breathing down your neck. Get to it.
So what's the difference between a business coach and a branding coach?
So the business coach is to help you keep you on track. She is the person who says, hey, these are your monthly goals. Here's what you could do to be better. Here's some marketing ideas to help you. They help guide you. My branding coach is who helps me come up with the visual.
Okay.
She made the cover for the journal. So I gave her a bunch of ideas. We emailed back and forth, and then we came up with the journal, but it's my journal.
Okay.
So I purchased my rights, and it's now my journal. But the branding coach is all the visual stuff, all the colors, all that good stuff.
Okay.
And she was like, let's go. Get the Barnes and Noble, sis. And I did. And I started looking at stuff and taking pictures of stuff. And the funny thing is what I thought I wanted, I ended up scrapping it, and it became something else, but it was exactly what I wanted, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It ended up being exactly what I wanted.
And it's just funny how you go through something and then you start going through the process, and then when you go through your refinement, I think that's when you are more open, or you open up and you start seeing things in your blind spot. So like at this point, I'm excited about this journal. The reason why I'm excited about this journal is because you're putting out affirmations, right? And that's something that for me, I don't write. I just get up and say crazy stuff to myself, and I randomly post stuff. Most of the time when I post anything that's quasi inspirational, it's something that I'm mentally going through at that point at time. It's like,
and the funny thing is, I said it on this platform, and a lot of people will be mad at me because I didn't even tell people that I was doing this. So this will be a lot of people's first time hearing about it.
Hey, now you have set a standard. Now you're gonna have more accountability partners looking for this product. You just might as well go ahead and get ready for it. So, do you have a name of the company?
So my company, my overall company, because everything will fall under it, it's an umbrella company. It's Queendom Management LLC. Okay. The journal portion is just journal vibes, because I vibe off energy, and I really felt connected to that name for some reason. So the journals will have, like, you can buy a matching pen, and you can buy affirmation candle, and a lot of that stuff I created. I'm making the candles myself.
So what about the scents?
I won't tell you what's in it.
I was gonna say, I mean, if you need scents, help with the affirmation, call Dr. K. She got some she got some formulas for you.
And I'll be honest, I bet you she'll know what it is. She gonna know what it is. When she smells it, she's gonna know what it is.
I'm
excited. My plan is to put that journal out first. My second journal is second, third, and fourth journals are already in the works. I have to just send those Word documents out. Like, once it started flowing, it just started flowing. I have an idea for a men's only journal, something for McKings, something for teenagers. Like, I'm expecting this to grow, because I believe in myself.
Right.
I believe in myself. And if you don't believe in yourself, then nobody else can believe in you. So I believe in myself.
So with these journals, would it be audio? So would I be able to go on like Audible and download the journal, the
So it's funny
affirmations?
you said that. I didn't think about tapping into Audible, because I want you to be able to write the stuff down and reflect. A lot of times when you listen to the Audible part, which I believe I have a great speaking voice, if you're not writing it down, how are you going to go back and make yourself accountable?
Right. Okay. I can see that. And the only reason I asked is like about T.D. Jakes' book called Soar. And when I was looking for the book, I found the book and then messed around and saw right up under it, it had a study guide. So I bought the study guide and I bought the actual book. But then what I did was I went on and found the audio version, and the audio versions actually helped me transcribe what it is that I'm trying to do, because I'm as I'm listening, it's like, oh shoot, let me jot this down, versus reading, because if I read, my brain will go in left field. But if I'm listening, 9 times out of 10 I'm hearing something that I need to hear.
Okay.
And I transcribe that conversation that I'm having with myself to that. I guess it's a journal or a training, and my notes. Man, we got a lot of people checking in. Definitely.
So I will definitely do my part on that one, and look into trying to convert it to
Audible
audio, because I literally made it for the people who like to write. So I would do that for the people who don't like to read. So it's not a whole lot of reading. It's more of you, and then there'll be some affirmation cards.
I like that.
It'll be some cards.
So
they just come together.
When do we expect like the initial push?
So I'm learning a lot about printing of everything. when you go to print, once you find your printer, if you order in bulk, it takes a lot of time. So it could take anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks for initial print. So I'm waiting for my initial physical copy so I can review them myself. But I also was thinking about doing pre-orders so that when I get them, I could just go back and reorder them and people could have them in time for the holidays. But I want to see it first before I open my site up for pre-orders.
That'd be pretty dope. And my sister checking in now. She made
Hey sister.
She's made a couple of comments, but I need to figure out what program she's using, because when I talk, it never gets what I'm saying. But she does both. Like, she reads like crazy. I mean, she's a bookworm. But she does the listen and write. So for intentional, she says you can listen and write if you are intentionally attempting to take what you are taking, what you're reading. So yeah, that's one of the things I do. Is
I just noticed. Tell sister say less. I'll work on the Audible version.
Yeah. So we got that. So we definitely gonna be looking to support that. Definitely. So what else is under the umbrella besides the affirmation, the journals?
So with each journal, it'll be a matching candle. So a lot of times, like for me, so actually even right now, I'm on my laptop, but I really wish I could show you. I actually have candles burning behind me right now. I'm a big candle person. I think scents help relax people. So the next journal right behind that is a manifestation candle, because you have these affirmations. So now what? Let's manifest what you really want out of life. And actually, my business coach calls me the manifestation queen.
Hey, you and Nisha, y'all need to get together.
She literally, my business coach said that everything that I've manifested this year has come to pass and it's happened quickly. But you got to remember, faith without works is dead. So what are you doing to make it happen for yourself?
True.
A lot of people expect when they manifest stuff that it's supposed to fall in your lap. No, you have to do some work. There has to be some work involved.
Yeah. Like,
so
I wholeheartedly agree.
That journal is to get you to do the work while you're manifesting. It'll be a candle to go with that. The third journal, and this is where my man inspired this one. We wanted to go to couples counseling because we're moving forward in our relationship, and I had never really been to couples counseling, and I would be writing everything down. Like, so if we ran into this issue again, we could go back to it, be it good or bad. And a lot of people,
you going back to the inspection. Hey, we said on this day at this time.
We learned so much and we grew so much from it. And people look at counseling as a bad thing. I looked at it as a learning experience.
Yeah.
And I felt like if you knew where you went wrong, or if you forgot, I could say, hey, we did this before. This is what we learned from this. Let's go back. Let's see how we can fix it. And a lot of times people don't take notes when you go to counseling. You go week by week, because that's what it is, week by week, and you talk to your couples counselor, and it's like, yeah, you guys are doing great, or you regressed, or you do, or whatever the case is, but there is nothing there for you to see where you progressed at as a couple.
But the other thing that
because I have everything written down because I'm a writer. So even he'd be like, well, remember that time you did this before, and I'd be like, you know what, you're right. Let me go see what I did to fix it.
Wow.
People don't do that. So you tend to make the same mistakes, because once you walk out of counseling, especially if the counselor got on you, because there would be days she would get on me, I'd be like, I ain't hearing it, but I still wrote it down. And it'd be days he'd be like, I ain't hearing it, but I still wrote his down. And I'm like, I wrote it down, babe. She said, but we learned from it. So if you can learn from something and a book is beneficial to help healthy relationships, why not? Why not?
I'm speechless because like everything you said is one of those things where it's like a lot of people are afraid to go to counseling. A lot of people are afraid to go get help, period, because they are so judgmental of self. But if you acknowledge the fact that you need help, and if you try to do it by yourself,
listen,
it's gonna be tough.
Baby, I thought I was perfect. I was the best thing walking since sliced bread. You couldn't tell me I wasn't wifey material. Boo, you don't know me. You need to know that I'm the best thing that ever happened to you you can marry me right now. And it was like, nah, you selfish, you're spoiled, you have some work to do yourself. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on, ma'am. Nah, that's accountability. Okay, I have some work to do. And I was okay with that. Maybe not in the moment, but now that I look back, I had work to do.
So what's the, man, we can go left, we can go right with this conversation. But ultimately, like, what is your top 2 expectations when it comes to producing the journals and getting them out? Outside of selling them, you know, we support, but what is those top 2 expectations that you want to see or you want to receive back when you put the journals out?
That people were helping themselves. A lot of times people don't have self-accountability. That self-awareness where you are like me and think you are the best thing since sliced bread, and somebody comes in and says no, or when you write it down yourself and you've become aware of your actions and you go, oh, I have some work to do. Be okay with that. Be okay with that. None of us are perfect, and that's okay. So go ahead and fix yourself and work on being a better person. Get out of your comfort zone. Get uncomfortable to be comfortable in the long term. It's okay. I really did this to help people help themselves. And that's really all I want. I'm hoping that somebody reaches out to me, and more so people that I don't know.
Right.
I get an email or a review that says your journal helped me with X, Y, and Z. And then I can use that later on in my platform when I become this women's empowerment speaker and I'm standing in a room full of hundreds of women saying, hey, this is how I got started. This is what I did.
But it's funny you say that, because I tell people every day when I do these when I do these interviews, I started this to help me to figure out what it is I'm trying to do, why I'm doing it, and really to help me get out of my fear of failure, right?
Right.
So every time I have the conversation, I learn something new about myself, and I'm opening myself up to grow and develop. So what you just said is spot on. It's, you want to be able to hear people's, growth stories through the energy and the words that you're putting out in the atmosphere. And definitely, man, in 5 years, I want to be part of whatever empowerment conference that you're putting on. Like, I want to be hosting dope conversations on the stage.
I hope you're hosting it. I hope you're hosting it.
I would love to. Man, you would have no idea. And the other thing is, it's like this. It's kind of like what we were saying. It's, you are connecting with your purpose. Again, you're connected with your purpose, and you are living through your purpose. You're getting ready to step out on that non-traditional path to become traditional. And when I say traditional, meaning streams of income, being able to pay bills, sustain your family life after you did your career in the military, but you're not afraid. You're stepping out on fear, but you're stepping out on fear with faith. And you putting that work in. And that's what we want people to do. We want people to ultimately say, I want to do this, but I'm afraid. However, this is keeping me up at night because I know I should be doing this. And God, whoever your deity is, will take your talents and create opportunities for you to excel with your talents. And my wife told me this because we were in a situation where I didn't know these people and I didn't know their worth or who they were. But once I found out who they were, they immediately was like, we like you. We just want to be able to hang out with you to do X, Y, and Z. And I was like, wow. And she's like, yeah, your talents will put you in a room of people that you never would have thought you would have been in. And just by you taking the time out today and exposing yourself and being vulnerable and being open and sharing some things exclusively to me. Now everybody's gonna be upset with you because you didn't tell them. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, you
But
will get me in trouble with a few folks, but it's
hey,
okay.
hey, it's okay because what we're doing is we're making sure that two, we're holding you accountable with this conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So last question. I think you kind of tapped into it. I think you told your why, but now I want to get to that last mandatory question.
Okay.
So if you ran into anybody, random person, right, and they were in the midst of pursuing what they consider their dream is, but they feel like they're at a crossroad, what would you tell them to inspire them to continue to grow and move in that direction to reaching their ultimate goal?
Do it. Do it. Even if it's baby steps. I was so hesitant myself, like you said, out of fear. And when I decided to take fear out of it, I said to myself, baby steps. I'll do a little bit at a time. It doesn't have to happen overnight.
Right.
A lot of people want immediate satisfaction. And when we don't get immediate satisfaction, we see that as a failure, not understanding that longevity is what it is. That's okay. So this happened a little bit fast for me, but only because I had that extra time for a little while. And it didn't happen fast for me because this is stuff I probably could have done years ago. And I'm okay with that. Right. So it's happening now. But for people who are younger in their careers and in age, if you have something on your heart, start it now. Open your LLC now. Figure out what you want to do. Go ahead and write down your short-term goals. Do something 6 months out. Do something a year out. Do something 18 months out. Then start doing 2, 3, 4, 5 years out. 5 years out. Plan it so that you're prepared. So you don't feel rushed at the end of your career or when you're trying to transition from, for people that's not in the military that may be watching. Once you're getting to that point of retirement or you're done working for somebody else and you're ready to be your own boss, your plan is done and you can transition to only taking care of you. That hesitancy was there for me. It was. I was nervous. And I remember I had procrastinated a little bit. And ironically, Chantel had sent me a message on Facebook and was like, what you doing? And I was like, oh, nothing. She was like, you taking a long time with these journals, sis. They was like, okay. And that was that fire to get back in touch with the branding coach to get focused. And that's what I did.
So we just had another random question, and it's somebody that calls you Momma Bear, Matt Carson.
Yeah, that's one of my babies from Seymour.
He said, how do you find the inspiration to figure out your dream and make it reality? And additionally, how do you deal with setbacks and failures along the way? We both can answer this question. I'll let you go first.
Okay, so it took me some time to really figure out what my purpose was. So your purpose and your dream have to align. Honestly, what is going to make you happy every single day that you're doing it so it doesn't feel like work? My journals make me happy. Like I'm in school right now and my dad has stuff going on, but I'm literally sitting in the hospital on this hard little twin. And I don't know if y'all ever had to stay in the hospital with a parent, a spouse, a child, or whatever. But I'm literally laying in the hospital on this little hard bed and I'm looking up everything for journals.
Yeah.
I felt good all day long. I was focused on journals. But my mind wasn't in it to do anything else. And I think it was an escape for me. So I wouldn't be so upset about my dad. So when something is a positive escape, to me, that's it. So when you know it feels good, now how does it transfer to the real world? Is it a market for it? Is it beneficial to you in the long run? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself, and see if it works. And as far as setbacks, everything has setbacks, everything. So what you do with the setbacks and the failures is you deal with them.
Right.
So for me, my most recent setback was the printer. I wanted to print more journals than I could at the time, but Christmas is coming. I put myself on a budget and I'm starting all of this out of pocket.
Right.
So I was like, ooh, let me hold off. And then my business coach was like, hey, do pre-orders. Then you could purchase more journals and ship them out when you get them. I was like, dang, I wasn't even thinking about that. And that's the goodness of a business coach, because in my mind, I wasn't even thinking about pre-orders.
Right.
Somebody who's been in the game for a long time, they hold you down. I was like, oh yeah, I could do that. But the setback for me was, and mind you, the printer is great. So it was like, I don't want to switch printers. Now you just have to wait, because this is the process. And be okay with the process. And I try not to use the word failures or fail. I try to look at it as a lesson. Okay, this happened. Why did it happen? What can I learn from it? And how can I keep it from happening again?
Right.
Write it all down. That's going to be in the business journal.
Man, you killed that question. I don't even know how to even.
Sorry.
So for me, what it is I honestly just connected to what I'm passionate about and what I love. But I also looked at it from a standpoint of when I wake up every day, what is it that I love to see out of myself? And like you said, is it a market for it, right? What can I produce to the world that the world can benefit? And I ask myself that all the time. If I'm doing this, am I doing it for myself? Yes, I'm kind of doing it for myself, but at the same time, if I'm going through it, I know somebody else is going through it too. Or if I need it, I know somebody else needs it too. So I go and do the research to how to be better, how to polish myself at it. To be honest with you, for Matt, the military actually drove me to this point. Actually, no, my foundation. I never told you what my foundation was. I say it all the time, but my foundation drove me to this point. I've always been in a family of givers, teachers, developers, entrepreneurs. So I literally asked myself, like, hey, what can I do to be like my dad, my grandfather, my grandmother, and encompass all, my mom. And it's like, hey, what are you talented at? And what do you love doing? And what doesn't make you exhausted from doing it, and embrace it and go out there and produce and push it, produce it and push it to the world. And then as far as setbacks, how do you deal with setbacks? Setbacks is makes great comebacks. It's learning how to be resilient, understanding what resiliency is. Not what the military tells you what resiliency is, but just understanding what resiliency is and how being resilient helps you grow and move forward. So not trying to take London's thunder, because she killed that question. But from a standpoint for me, it's just being ultimately, if you can't sleep at night, if you always thinking about it, maybe you should be doing it.
Like legit, I was up Friday night. So I finished my homework assignments. I then got caught up. I was up till 3:30 researching stuff for my journals. Like, what's my next step? What am I going to next? What's my next level? What can I add to it? What other accessories can I put? Like, it's fueling me now.
Right.
That's how I know this is it. Nothing has fueled me like this before, besides my babies, of course.
Exactly. Well, you guys, we kind of went over because we had some issues with the internet for a quick second. They had to reset, but I apologize. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation, but definitely I did. I learned a lot, and I'm glad to have. I'm gonna brag about this. I'm glad to be the one that pulled out some exclusive data today, and you need to give a shout out whoever your business coaches are, your business coach and your branding. Put that information out there so that if anybody that's listening,
my
if they need a business coach or
Stephanie Prince. and I can put this stuff in the comments.
Put it out there.
And my branding coach is Denaja Cole. So I appreciate them. And I definitely have to shout out my man coach. He don't go by his real name. So thank you, babe, for putting that fire under my butt earlier this year. And I went for it because of you. So thank you.
That's good. That's good. That's real good stuff, you guys. Londa, man, I really appreciate your time.
Of course, bro. Anything for you.
So we got a 5-year plan. The contract is verbally signed. I'll be available.
Listen. We don't need no contract. You already know what it is. You already know what it is.
And again, apologize for some of the technical difficulties through the conversation, but I'm in a new location getting adjusted. But definitely, I had to get my sis on today. Whenever she put out what she put out yesterday, the Cash App post. I was like, oh, what's she doing? Let me go ahead and check in and see what she got going on. And we had to bring that in there. So looking forward to late November. That's what you put out for shopping, right? Just in time for Black Friday. I guess.
If it works out how I want it to. So for people that are listening, what I did was my braider put out a business Cash App post and said how many Facebook friends she had and asked people to sow $1 into her business. Mm-hmm. So I have my own personal Cash App and a business Cash App and sold into her. Because she's very flexible with me and my daughter. She hooks us up. So I sold into her. And then she was like, you need to post it. Because she knew, because Stephanie is her branding coaching, business coaching. I said, I post it. And it's ironic. Last night, it didn't get a lot of traction. And today, people started Cash Apping me in my business account. And I'm so thankful and blessed that people are Cash Apping me off of that post because it shows they believe in me. And I'm appreciative of that.
You stepped out on faith. You did something.
I stepped out on faith.
And your Cash App post, I know we're supposed to get off here, but your Cash App post wasn't the typical Cash App post. It was something that had purpose and meaning behind it. And first thing I did was I went in there, hey, here goes some ducats. I don't even care what it is. Here goes some ducats. But let's talk about what you're doing so we can bring it on the platform at the same time.
So now people have a purpose and a reason why they sold into me.
Yeah.
And then I return the favor. So if you starting a business and I need to sow into you later on down the line, I always return the favor.
Well, we're going to talk about that.
I got you.
I got some plans. Everything has its process, and right now this is part of the process of the future of what I got going on. So we're gonna get ready to check out of here, you guys. We're 30 minutes over the time, but this was a really great information.
I appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate your time as always. The energy, everything. I appreciate everything, and for everybody that tuned in and jumped back on, we appreciate it. Hey, you had a lot of family that jumped on, cousins and sisters.
I gotta go back and read the comments.
You had a lot of family that jumped on and gave you some personal shout outs. But the one thing I want to do is say, hey, the YouTube page is live, so we get ready to transition from Facebook. Facebook is only going to be for Sundays. We do the interviews, pull them down, and everything gets moved over to YouTube. So subscribe to the YouTube page, Dope Conversations 2 E's. Support a brother out. I'm trying to pursue some dreams, and I'm trying to, make some change on YouTube here. And the podcast platform will be out. We'll be on Spotify and Apple and all other podcast platforms. That'll be rolling out here in the next week or two. And I want to give a shout out to all of my business owners. If you know anybody that has a Black-owned business, fashion, whatever it is, send them my way. I got a project I'm working on that we can collab on for the future. So if you own any Black-owned businesses, business period, but really Black-owned businesses, tag them, shoot them my way, because I'm working on some concepts for the near future. So without further ado, I'm not going to hold y'all up. I really appreciate y'all time for checking in. Londa, we're going to talk here in the future. And we will see you guys next week. Same time, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. on the West Coast. So y'all take it easy. We out of here.
Peace.
You gotta know, you gotta know, baby. Boy, if you don't, I lay you without the filter, cause I like the real you. I lay you without the filter, cause I like the real you, baby, yeah. No makeup on, used to fly. You gon' always get my lights. I lay you without the filter, I like the real you, baby. I've been scrolling through your feed all day to see what you just posted. Girl, that body on fleek, but you act like you don't even know it. And I know that you've been through a couple of things. Let me boost your self-esteem, yeah. Ooh, so don't even try. Girl, you looking like the entree in the tube. On the side with the love in my new boots. Come and take a trip. I lay you without the filter, cause I like the real you. I lay you without the filter,